Have you ever felt like the people around you are slowly pulling away? Like conversations are shorter, visits are less frequent, and you find yourself alone more often than not? It's a sinking feeling that many people experience as they age. But why does it happen? And more importantly, is there something you can do about it before it's too late? Imagine a life where your social circle begins to shrink, where you realize that some of your closest relationships are drifting further and further away. You've worked hard your entire life, but now you're facing the possibility of loneliness, isolation, and even rejection. And it's not just about the aging process. It's about how others perceive you as you get older, and how those perceptions influence their actions. It's critical that we address this now, because once that distance grows, it's hard to bridge it. The good news? There are proven strategies to prevent this from happening, to reconnect with others, and to rebuild those important relationships before it becomes a permanent divide. But you need to act fast, and I'll show you how. So what's really going on? Why are people avoiding you, and how can you turn things around? Let's explore this together. But before we dive in, if you're interested in getting more insights like these, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, share, and comment down below with your thoughts or experiences. It helps us bring more content like this to you, and we'd love to hear how we can help further. Stay tuned, because what comes next could completely change the way you approach aging and relationships. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Number 1, overcoming the negativity trap. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to fall into a cycle of negativity, especially when life throws its challenges at you? As we grow older, it feels like the weight of the world just keeps piling up. Health problems, financial concerns, and the uncertainty of society can often feel like too much to bear. But here's the thing. Negativity can become a trap that we get stuck in if we're not careful. Have you found yourself stuck in this loop, where every conversation feels like a complaint, every day feels like a struggle, and you wonder how things got so heavy? If you're not mindful, negativity can take over and leave you feeling drained. Not just yourself, but those around you too. I've been through my fair share of tough times. In my 70 years, I've experienced both highs and lows, health scares, financial hardships, the loss of loved ones. I remember days when it felt like nothing was going right. The aches and pains, the frustration, with the way the world seemed to be moving faster than I could keep up. It was overwhelming. At times, I didn't always know how to cope. I'd vent to friends, to family, just to get the weight off my chest. But soon I realized something that changed the way I dealt with those difficult moments. Constantly talking about my struggles, even though they were real, wasn't helping anyone. Not me, not my family, not my friends. It was a cycle that fed itself, and it only made things worse. I'm sure you felt that too, the energy drained from focusing too much on what's wrong. But here's something important I've learned. While it's okay to acknowledge your struggles, you don't have to let them define your conversations or your life. The people around you don't want to leave a conversation feeling down. Imagine this. When you're around someone who only shares complaints and frustrations, how does that make you feel? It's exhausting, isn't it? We all have our challenges, but we also have the choice to change the energy we bring to a room. You can still talk about your issues, but balance them with the good things in life. Maybe share a funny story, ask about someone's day, or even compliment someone sincerely. Small shifts like these can transform the way people perceive you. Suddenly, you're not just someone who complains, you're someone who brings joy, who lightens the mood. Take it from me, it's never too late to start changing how you approach life. I wish I had learned this sooner, but it's not about regret. It's about making the most of today. If you're stuck in the negativity trap, now is the time to break free. Start small, acknowledge your challenges, but also make an effort to bring something positive to every conversation. Your family, your friends, and even yourself will thank you for it. Don't let the heaviness of life weigh you down. You have the power to shift your mindset and create an atmosphere of warmth and positivity around you. You've earned the wisdom, so share it with others, not just the burdens. Start now. Number 2, the expectation versus reciprocity dilemma. Have you ever found yourself thinking that as you get older, you deserve more from those around you? Maybe you wish for more frequent visits from family or expect your friends to always be there when you need them. These feelings are natural, rooted in love and the desire to stay connected. But have you ever stopped to consider how these expectations might affect your relationships in the long run? If we don't balance our needs with what we give back, resentment can quietly build up, both from us and from others. I've been there too. Looking back, I see moments when I expected too much from my loved ones without realizing how much they needed from me. I was frustrated when my children or friends didn't visit as often as I thought they should, or when they seemed preoccupied with their own lives. But over time, I came to understand that relationships work like a balance scale. The more we ask of others, the more we must be willing to give. It took me a while to realize it's not just about being supported, it's about supporting others in return. Think about it. Relationships thrive on reciprocity. It's not only about what we get, but also about what we give. I remember a friend of mine who, in her later years, began feeling isolated and neglected, despite having a loving family. Her children were busy with their own lives, and she couldn't help but feel left out. But when she made an effort to reach out, not only to ask for help, but also to offer support or check in on others, she noticed a change. Not only did her relationships strengthen, but her sense of fulfillment grew too. She learned that when you give without expecting anything in return, it often comes back to you in ways you didn't foresee. So how can you begin to bring more balance into your own relationships? It doesn't require grand gestures. Even small acts like sending a thoughtful message or making a quick call to check on someone can make a huge difference. If you're in need of support, remember that the people around you probably want to help, but it's important to show that you care about them too. Take a moment to reflect on the relationships that matter most to you. How can you contribute to them? Whether it's listening or offering a hand with something small, it's about mutual care and respect. Don't wait for others to always meet your expectations. Instead, try to be the person who gives as much as they receive. Start today by making an effort to give back, even in small ways. You'll not only strengthen the connections you already have, but you'll also open up new opportunities for growth and support. So go ahead, reach out, show appreciation, and watch how it transforms your relationships for the better. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 inches below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's move forward. Number 3, the Unwanted Advisor Syndrome. Have you ever felt like someone was always trying to tell you what to do, even when you didn't ask for their advice? It's like when a tree, tall and full of wisdom, stands over you, casting its shadow across everything. It wants to share its shade, but sometimes that shade can feel a little too much, overwhelming the space around it. In life, many older adults after years of experience feel compelled to pass on their wisdom to the younger generations. But even the most well-intentioned advice can sometimes feel more like a burden than a blessing. As we age, it's natural to think that our experiences can help guide those who are still finding their way. After all, we've lived through so much and seen how things often unfold. But it's important to realize that just as the young are growing and evolving, so too are their lives and challenges. Giving unsolicited advice, no matter how helpful it might seem, can sometimes push people away, even if it comes from a place of love and care. Think about how you would feel if someone were constantly telling you what to do, without ever asking if you wanted their opinion. How would you react if every conversation felt like a lecture rather than a dialogue? It would probably make you feel controlled, wouldn't it? The same applies to your children, grandchildren, or friends. They have their own paths to follow, and while your advice may come from a place of love, it can feel like an unwanted intrusion. This isn't about your wisdom being unappreciated. It's about respecting the autonomy of others and giving them the space to make their own decisions. Studies have shown that unsolicited advice can often be perceived as criticism, which can lead to frustration and resentment. If someone feels like they're being told how to live their life, they may start withdrawing. It's not because they don't value you, but because no one likes to feel controlled. You can still share your wisdom, but it's crucial to wait for an invitation. When someone asks for help, that's the moment to share your thoughts. Offering advice when it's not wanted can do more harm than good. The key to maintaining strong relationships is patience. Instead of rushing to share your thoughts, take a moment to ask if the other person is open to hearing your perspective. A simple, "I've got some thoughts on that. Would you like to hear them?" shows respect for their autonomy and creates space for a more meaningful exchange. If you truly want to help, it's about being there when you're needed, not imposing your views on others. Focus on being a good listener, offering your support without pushing your agenda. The best kind of guidance comes from a place of mutual respect, not control. Next time you feel the urge to give advice, pause and ask yourself, do they want my input, or do they need space to figure things out on their own? Respecting their journey doesn't mean you're being silent. It means you're offering the gift of trust and understanding. Don't let the shadow of unsolicited advice cloud the light of your relationships. Instead, offer the warmth of patience and respect. You'll find that people are much more likely to seek your guidance when they feel their independence is valued. Number 4, respecting boundaries, the key to healthy relationships. We all have our comfort zones, don't we? It's only natural to want to be close to those we care about, to expect attention from them, and sometimes even to demand it. But have you ever paused to think about how others might feel when those boundaries are unintentionally crossed? Whether it's expecting immediate responses to our calls, showing up uninvited, or asking questions that may feel intrusive, it's important to remember that respecting personal boundaries, both physical and emotional, is essential to maintaining strong, healthy relationships. Looking back on my own experiences, I've come to realize just how important it is to recognize the space that others need. When I was younger, I sometimes took it for granted that the people in my life would always be there for me, responding quickly to my messages or being available whenever I needed them. But over time, I understood that just as I needed personal space, so did they. By respecting their boundaries, I not only strengthened our connections, but also gave them the freedom to be themselves without feeling pressured. Let me share a personal story. I once had a friend who, for many years, would call me multiple times a day. He didn't mean any harm, he was simply lonely and wanted someone to talk to. Over time, though, I began to feel overwhelmed. While I valued our friendship, I needed some personal time too. Rather than getting frustrated or feeling guilty, I decided to have an honest conversation with him. I explained that I needed more space, and while I cared deeply for him, I couldn't always be available. At first, he took it personally, but eventually, he understood. Our relationship didn't suffer. In fact, it became healthier because we both respected each other's boundaries. Respecting boundaries isn't just about giving people physical space, it also involves honoring their emotional needs. For instance, if someone asks for privacy, don't interpret it as a rejection. Understand that everyone has different comfort levels when it comes to sharing personal matters. If a friend or family member sets a boundary, honor it without taking it personally. You'll find that these boundaries aren't barriers. They're protective measures that preserve relationships, allowing both people to feel safe, valued, and understood. So take a moment to reflect on your own relationships. Are you respecting the time, energy, and privacy of those around you? The next time you feel the urge to call someone at an odd hour or ask a personal question, pause and consider whether they might need space. Sometimes the greatest act of love is simply giving someone room to breathe. By doing this, you're allowing your relationships to remain strong, respectful, and meaningful. Start today by taking a step back and acknowledging the boundaries of those you care about. This act doesn't weaken your connection. In fact, it strengthens it by fostering mutual respect and trust. The more space you give people when they need it, the richer and more fulfilling your relationships will become. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 inches below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's move forward. Number 5, breaking free from the past. Isn't it fascinating how the past can so easily pull us in? The memories, the moments, the stories, they feel so familiar, almost like a comforting blanket. While reminiscing can bring joy, it's important to recognize when it starts to hold us back, preventing us from truly engaging with the present. When we focus too much on the good old days, we might unintentionally create a distance between ourselves and those who are trying to share the here and now with us. I've experienced this myself. There was a time when I often found myself talking about the past, those golden moments that seemed so much better than what I was living now. I loved sharing those memories, but I didn't realize how often I was dominating the conversations. Over time, I began to notice that the more I reminisced, the less room I was giving others to share their current experiences. I wasn't truly engaging with the present, and that made it harder for others to feel connected to me. Take an old friend of mine, for instance. She had a lifetime of stories to tell, and while they were fascinating, they became repetitive. After a while, people stopped asking her about her life today because they already knew the stories she would share. She realized that for her relationships to thrive, she needed to shift the focus from the past to the present. She made an effort to ask others about their lives, share her own current experiences, and truly engage in the moment. This shift made a big difference. People began to open up more, and her relationships grew stronger. If you find yourself getting stuck in the cycle of constant reminiscing, don't worry, most of us do at some point. But it's important to find a balance between honoring those memories and staying open to the present. The next time you're about to dive into a familiar story from the past, pause and ask someone else about their life today. Show genuine interest in what they're experiencing right now. This small shift will make your conversations more dynamic and help others feel valued in the moment rather than overshadowed by what's gone. Start by making small adjustments. Instead of focusing on past accomplishments or struggles, make space for the present. Ask how someone's day is going or what's new in their life. Share something that excites you now, whether it's a hobby, a book you're reading, or a recent experience. By truly engaging with the present, you'll bring fresh energy into your relationships, opening the door to new memories and deeper connections. Embrace the present fully. Give it the attention it deserves. By balancing your love for the past with a sincere interest in the present, you'll not only enrich your relationships, but also open the door to new possibilities for growth and connection. So go ahead, make today your focus. The past will always be there, but it's the present that shapes the future. Number 6. Adapting to change is key. You know the saying, you can't step into the same river twice. It's a simple truth, but it speaks to something deeper. Life is always in motion, and as we get older, it can feel harder to keep up with those changes. You've probably noticed it too. The world seems to be moving faster than we can process. Technology is evolving in ways that are tough to follow, and social norms are shifting in directions that leave us feeling a bit out of place. It can be overwhelming. Have you ever had that sense that the world is moving too fast and you're just trying to hold on to what's familiar? I know this feeling well. Looking back on my life, I've seen more change than I ever imagined I would. I remember a time when life was simpler. No cell phones, no social media, just real conversations and face-to-face connections. The younger generations today seem much more comfortable with the speed of change, especially with all the technology they've grown up with. And there are times when I wish things could slow down, when I want to go back to the way it was. But here's what I've come to realize. If we spend all our energy longing for the past, we miss out on the present. Change is a part of life, and the key to staying connected and relevant, no matter our age, is learning to adapt. Let's look at the bigger picture. The world has always evolved, and those who thrive are the ones who are willing to evolve with it. Take the internet, for example. There was a time when many people thought it was just a passing trend, but those who embraced it, who learned about it, used it, and found ways to make it work for them, opened up countless opportunities. Whether for business, education, or staying in touch with others, the internet became a game changer. Today, we face even greater changes with smartphones, social media, and new technologies emerging every day. For some of us, these advancements can feel overwhelming, like too much to handle. But here's the thing. By staying curious and open-minded, we can engage with the present and avoid retreating into the past. In my own experience, embracing new ideas doesn't always mean jumping on every new piece of technology. It means being willing to learn from others, understanding different viewpoints, and staying curious. It's as simple as asking someone, "Tell me more about that," or saying, "That's interesting, I hadn't thought of it that way." These small actions can help us stay sharp and keep us connected with those around us. It's about keeping the door open to new possibilities, even when we don't fully understand them. Now here's what I want you to do. Take one small step to engage with the world around you. It doesn't have to be a huge leap. Maybe it's asking someone about a trend you're unfamiliar with, or asking a younger person to explain something you don't quite get. Or maybe it's taking a moment to reflect on how the world is changing and how you can embrace that change. You don't have to make massive changes, but by being open to what's happening now, you'll find that life becomes richer, your relationships grow stronger, and you'll feel more connected to the world around you. Don't let change pass you by. Embrace it. The world may seem intimidating, but you've got the ability to stay engaged and make the most of whatever comes next. In conclusion, life is full of challenges, but it's how we face them that defines our journey. By learning to break free from negativity, balancing our relationships with reciprocity, respecting boundaries, and embracing change, we not only enrich our own lives, but also bring positivity and growth to those around us. It's never too late to shift your mindset and start making small changes that will have a lasting impact on your life and relationships. So take a moment today to reflect on how you can apply these lessons in your own life. Whether it's changing the way you speak to others, reaching out more, or simply opening yourself up to the present moment, every little step counts. Start now and see how it transforms your relationships and your sense of fulfillment. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more insightful content. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. What's one change you're going to make starting today? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and keep embracing life's lessons.